Hello, hello, hello. Happy Monday. Going to give it a minute to see who joins us today. But for those of you who are seeing this on the recorded mode, hello. Happy Monday, or whatever day it is that you're watching this. My name is Marci Geller, and I am your host of Square Peg Chat. I'm just going to make one little adjustment. Hang on one second. Oh. I saw my power supply starting to come undone, and I want to make sure that we don't experience any technical difficulties tonight. Anyway, happy Monday, happy 2016, day after Valentine's Day. I see we're starting to get some viewers who are jumping on. Makes me wonder if we're having some technical difficulties because we're about a minute in, and I know that there is a delay. I see you guys a little bit after you log on, but just want to make sure you're there. My name again is Marci Geller. I am your host of Square Peg Chat, and we are streaming live from my living room because our studio is in disarray. It's actually disassembled at the moment because we had a gigantic flood at the beginning of the year, but we forge forward. We've been doing a series of painting and ripping up carpets and all kinds of fun stuff. So I wanted to do sort of a February wrap-up because I am going to be away the rest of the month, and as we have learned through past experiences, I do not webcast when I am traveling because I can never be certain that I'm going to have a reliable stream, a reliable source for it to go out to you guys. So this is our official last February 2016 web chat. So I wanted to just sort of, I don't know, check in with you guys, see how everybody's doing. We could talk about pretty much anything. I was going to talk to you a little bit about what's going on and, you know, sort of get that sense of like, okay, by the next time we get together and chat with each other, it will be March, and the significant thing about that is that it will be 1 month until hopefully the weather will start getting warmer. And being somebody who just experienced 1 degree yesterday on Valentine's Day. That's right, people. It was 1 here in New York. Actually, I heard that it actually went lower overnight, like to like -2 or something like that. I know some of you who live up north, you think we're a bunch of wimps, and perhaps that is true. But I don't like the cold to begin with, and 1 is way, way, way too cold. So that's just how I feel about it. I know that, you know, oh, you could use it as an excuse to get all snuggly and stuff, and that is true, especially on Valentine's Day. And my husband and I decided that rather than going out to a restaurant and dumping a lot of money on a meal that probably was not going to be fabulous, because we've experienced that before, where Valentine's Day, like you go and you have this high expectation of the meal because it's a special holiday, but they're so crowded and they just are trying to like turntables and turntables that like, it just isn't very good. So I instead made a gourmet meal for me and my husband. I did this beautiful Dijon shallot dressing for a salad, an arugula salad, and then for a main course we had lobster tails, yum, and potato towers, Parmesan truffle potato towers, and I made homemade cream spinach. So I hope I made you hungry just now. Anyway, if you're on and you want to sort of announce yourself so I know that you're watching, you don't have to identify yourself, but if you want to let me know that you are indeed seeing me and not seeing a commercial, because that does happen on occasion here on Ustream, that would be awesome, because then I'll know that you're engaged and it's sort of like a chat instead of me reciting and speaking to you or at you. Anyway, so wrap up. 2016, how has it been so far? Well, you know, for me personally, since there was a flood at the beginning of the year, which was unanticipated and a large expense that we were not anticipating, it was sort of a bumpy start, but that was sort of balanced by a lot of good things, like getting some nice reviews on the new CD and getting some radio airplay on it, and getting a gig offer in the Netherlands, which I'm still trying to make that come together. It's not looking great at the moment, just because I really do need to book some other shows around it to sort of make it make sense, financially, because it's a lot of money to fly over to the Netherlands for just one show, even if it was a fabulous show. I'm not saying that it wouldn't be fabulous, I'm sure it would be, but I have to be fiscally responsible to the Marci Geller entity here, being that she is a product as well as a person. So that's what I've been working on. And so, like I said, this is going to be my last web chat for February, because I am heading out west, and I guess I'll talk a little bit about where I'm going. I am first going to be flying into Salt Lake City and spending some time with family in Utah. And I'm very excited about that. I've got my sister and her husband and my nephew, who I absolutely adore. Going to be spending a few days with them. And she's telling me that I don't have to worry about packing bulky, heavy clothing, because she has enough warm stuff so I can borrow. So that's a good thing. And then from there, I am going off to Los Angeles. Woohoo! I'm going to be meeting with some family there, and I am going to be attending a conference that I'm pretty excited about. It's very different from anything I've done before. It's more, really, well, it's not more business. I think it's more concentrated business than some of the other conferences that I've attended in the last few years, in that I think the ratio of musicians to industry people is a little bit more balanced, which is kind of cool, and I'm excited about that. And then from that conference, I am going to be heading to my good friend Kiki Ebson's place to do a concert. We are doing a benefit concert to raise money and awareness for the Healing Equine Ranch, and they are a horse rescue organization. They are a 501(c), and they not only are wonderful in that they rescue horses, but they use the horses to basically tap into people's healing ability with their own emotions, their own challenges and struggle. So I'm very excited about that. I think animals can be remarkably intuitive in a lot of ways, more so than we can, because we're dealing with so many cues. We're reading body language and interpreting language, words and stuff like that, whereas I think animals really just I think they just respond to energy. I don't know, maybe that's hokey, but that's kind of my sense. I mean, I know that, like, if I'm having a bad day or I'm bummed out, I know my cat, who some of you have met if you've been here before, she just kind of taps in. She knows that I need some love from my baby, and she just gives it, very unconditionally. So I'm very excited and very honored to be raising money and awareness for the Healing Equine Ranch and the wonderful work that they do for the animals and the humans. So that's on Sunday, February 28th. If you are in the Southern California area and you would like to attend, it is by reservation only. So go to my website, which you're already at probably, which is marcigeller.com. And if you go to, I think it says dates, that's where you have all my shows that I'm doing. You'll see a link for this particular show where you can click and reserve your seats and come see me in 3D, which would be very, very exciting. So that's where I'm heading, and that's what I'm getting ready for. When I go on these trips, there's so much involved. It's not just a question of packing stuff or, practicing songs so that when I do performances I feel confident, but there's a lot of planning that goes into it, because there's a lot of moving parts when I especially a trip like this where I'm not just going to a performance, but I am also going to a conference and have to be really prepared for that. And there's a list of things that I do to get myself ready. You know, I will do as much investigating as I can to find out, you know, who's going to be at the conference and sort of plan who I want to interact with and who I want to intersect with, and figuring out ways that I can make that happen. I do some research. I find out about the people that sound interesting that maybe I've never met before, or maybe I've never even heard of before, but something, you know, that they do is of interest to me. For example, you know, maybe I'm trying to place some songs with other artists and this person is a producer. Well, what kind of music have they produced in the past? If they produced like rap and urban music, well, chances are they're probably not going to be that interested in my material. But if they're producing artists that do more singer-songwriter, folk, you know, country, you know, sort of indie, you know, soft rock, well, then they're probably, they might, you know, connect with something that I do. So those are people that I'm going to seek to intersect with, as I said. And I'll sometimes try and figure out a way to contact them prior to the conference, just so I, you know, have an idea of when they're getting in, because just because they're speaking at the conference doesn't mean they're going to be there the whole time like I would be. What else do I do? You know, I get a whole bunch of promotional materials ready so that I can be prepared in any given moment. You know, they always say you have this, like, you know, brief opportunity to make a good impression, and that's that first impression. So I always try to have materials on me that I can easily distribute, whether it's CDs or a one sheet that gives information not only about me and my history, but how to contact me. Because, you know, let's face it, after these conferences, you're sort of in a haze of the conference, and I don't know, for me anyway, it takes a while to find myself again and come down from the high of it, because a lot of the times these conferences are so invigorating because there's so much energy, because there's so many people there, you know. So I do try to stay organized, and, you know, I take my little devices with me, my iPad and my iPhone, and I try to make myself little notes, especially if people give business cards. I will either jot down their something about them on the back of the business card, and then when I get back to my hotel room that night, I will add them to my contact list with, you know, the notes, and then I will also add them to a reminder so I know to follow up and what we talked about, if we discussed anything. And what else do I do for these things? You know, I guess I just try to prepare myself for anything. Like, you know, okay, so what if you get asked out for drinks, you know, with somebody who's really big and important? You know, do you have something appropriate to wear in any occasion? Or what if you need to, you know, give somebody a digital download, so I make sure that I have that on my website. You know, I try to preemptively think of all the things that I could possibly come across when I do a conference or when I do a performance, and make sure that I'm armed and ready, because it's not like when I do something close to home and I'm touring by driving in my van, and I know that if I forget anything, it's probably, there's something in there. So, hey. Oh, no worries, David. Thanks for joining in. It's good to see you, even if it's just words. We were talking about my trip that's coming up this following week. I'm going to be leaving for the West Coast, and so this is my last February web chat. So I decided to, instead of making it a specific topic about, I don't know, whatever's going on, I decided to just make it sort of a wrap up. And I'm going to be full disclosure, because you guys know that I'm always full disclosure. I always kind of let you in on where I'm at emotionally and mentally and spiritually, for better or for worse. I was having some challenges this past week. I was feeling very overwhelmed and very, what's the word? Oh, see? I have something funny to tell you guys in a minute. I was feeling sort of down about stuff, like, and I sort of have this feeling that when I indulge those feelings of not, you know, either being angry or sad or whatever it is, that I sort of like put that energy out, and then I start attracting in more things that feed that negativity. So I've been really conscious of trying to flip the perspective like we've been talking about, so that when I am feeling upset, I can acknowledge my emotions and my feelings. I don't want to push them down or deny them, because I don't think that that's a good idea either. But I also want to get past them. I want to move forward from them, because I feel like, there are appropriate times for anger. And that may be a weird comment to make, but I find for myself that sometimes if I'm feeling a lack of energy, sometimes anger can energize me. And I don't want anger to always be my fuel. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm always trying to find a positive spin to any experience, whether it's my own personal turmoil or chaos or watching somebody else go through it. And so if I am legitimately feeling angry, even if it's for an illogical reason, or even if I don't know why per se I'm angry, I try to use that energy to propel me forward so that I can feel good again, because that's ultimately the goal for me. I'm always seeking that place of peace and joy and feeling happy, because I want to spread that. I feel like it's sort of like a ripple in the ocean, and if you spread happiness, then there will be more happiness in the world, and if you spread anger and sadness, there will be more of that, and that's just not what I'm looking to spread out into the world and into the universe. So that's my full disclosure. I always try to be very authentic here, because I think it would be sort of a waste of time to always show up here all cheery and happy and pretending like everything is great. If it's not, that doesn't mean I want it to become a bitch fest either, because I certainly don't expect anybody to want to listen to my complaints. I don't even like hearing myself complain. So I just told you that little tidbit of information because I wanted you to know where I was coming from, because when I was really pondering what our topic was going to be for today, there were parts of me that were coming up with a lot of more aggressive ideas for what we were going to talk about today, and I decided rather than fueling that energy, why don't I just make this about I'm here. I didn't have anything specific in mind, but I did want to keep our meeting with each other, our little Monday dates that we do here, and be able to exchange with you guys. So that said, I'm wondering if anybody else wants to say hi or pose a question or a commentary or anything like that. If you're deciding, I'm going to tell you, I said I was going to tell you something funny. So my husband John and I were watching an episode of Drunk History, and I don't know if you've ever seen it before, but it's very funny, but it's also sort of a little warped in a way. Basically, this producer-director guy gets celebrities to become intoxicated and then basically tell a historic story while they are drunk, and of course being altered in that way of inebriation, alters their perspective and alters the way they expound on the history. So today we were watching it. It was really funny. The woman who was talking about this part of history, I guess there was a moth that was in the room with her, and she kept trying to, swipe the moth. And what's funny about that is that when they don't just tell the historic story, but then they have actors who are not drunk who reenact history while the drunk actor narrates. So if you can envision this, they're acting out whatever the drunk person is saying. And so she's talking about, there's a moth. So this historical person was like saying their speech, and then they would stop to like swipe a moth. So the reason I brought that up is because, believe it or not, with 1 degree weather yesterday and warming up to big old 20 degrees today, I just saw a little mosquito in here. And I think that's like so bizarre. I'm like, Is it the universe telling me there's hope that like spring is coming? Did I manifest it because I talked about spring coming? I don't know. It's a very, very odd little thing that there was a little bug here. So anyway, I guess you guys are shy tonight because nobody else is introducing themselves or saying anything. Pardon me. So let's see, where are we at? Okay, so we have about 8 minutes left, and I think what I'm going to do is talk about, the few things before I wrap up my wrap-up. If you are not a member of my mailing list, I got a little message here. So, never better as far as clarity and no choppiness breaking up. Oh, that's really good news. Thanks. That's really good to hear. That makes me happy. Okay, so if you are not on my mailing list, meaning you're not getting my newsletters, as I call them, once a month, above me is a way to sign up for my mailing list and get a free MP3. So please do that because I would love to keep in contact with you. If you are so inclined, there is a tip jar below me, and that is so that you can express some gratitude in this direction, because I am saving up so that we can do eventually a commercial-free feed, and that costs money. So if you're so inclined, tips are always welcome. It's going to be close to 60 on Wednesday. Figures, right? Figures it's going to be close to 60 when I'm leaving for California, or the West anyway, in a few days, and I'm so looking forward to warm weather. The other thing I want to mention, my new CD Square Peg, it is getting really, really, really lovely reviews and lovely quotes from people who I really, really respect, which makes me very happy. So if you don't have a copy, grab yourself one. It's on this website. Just go to store and that CD, and as a matter of fact, all of them are there. So my wrap up. I decided tonight, actually I decided after a prompting from my very, very intelligent husband, that since this is the last web chat for February, I wanted to express my gratitude, and what better way than to sing my song about gratitude. And there's another reason I wanted to do it. One of the lovely things that happened this week is that a new friend and listener, Mark Brendan Hussey, decided to take it upon himself to make a music video for one of my songs, and it just so happened to have been this song that I'm going to perform. So if you are so inclined, you can also click links and go to my YouTube channel. There are links to all of my social media on every page of my website, and they're just little icons. So if you see like the little birdie, that's Twitter if you want to follow me there. If you see the little camera, that's Instagram. If you see the, I think it's an F for Facebook, and then the little, YouTube play button, that's YouTube. Follow those links. Follow me on my social media. I try to be very consistent and very active in all forms of social media so that I can keep everybody happy. On that note, I am happy that somebody was kind enough to take time and energy to make a video about one of my songs, so I'm going to share that song with you guys tonight. It's called Thank You. It is my gratitude song, and it goes something like this. That's the squeaky pedal. Last night I sang with an orchestra of baristas who were making cappuccinos, and so they think it's a distraction. Well, not for me, they fill the chapters. This is my life, these faces and stories tomorrow calls, and I will still be painting walls with my confessions. This is my life, these verses and stories gathered like wishes at the bottom of a well. I could not ask for a more perfect calling. Thank you. Thank you. So, thank you all. Of course, it's getting great reviews. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate all of you that have taken time out of your busy days to spend a little time with me on these Mondays. We do these little, really fast half-hour chats. It's a dialogue. It's between me and you. We discuss things that may be bogging us down or challenging us and hope to gain some insight through one another. And I can honestly say that it happens so many times, so many times. I know that the Grammys are on tonight. I know because my friend Myra is there. I can't wait to go on Facebook and see all of her pictures so I can see what's going on, you know, over on that coast where that I'm heading towards next week. If you're in California and you want to see me in 3D, please come to the show. Look it up. It's under dates. What else? Check out my CD. I just got a hearty endorsement from our lovely friend David, who is always so generous, and we appreciate you, David. Thank you for continuing to support our weekly chats. So that's it, guys. I wish you all a very lovely, productive, happy, healthy, safe week. Hopefully it's going to get warm here and it's going to stay that way for the rest of winter so we can burn less oil and need less sweaters, right? So thank you all for tuning in. I am Marci Geller. I am your host of Square Peg Chat. We will be back again the first week of March, and I'm pretty sure... Oh no, I am sorry. We're going to be back the second week of March because the first week of March... That Monday is February 29th because it's a leap year. So let me look at my calendar. We will be back on March 7th. That will be our next webcast. I hope you will join me. I hope you will help spread the word so we can keep having these chats and figure stuff out and have happier, healthier lives. Okay? So thanks, everybody. Bye.